afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the episode of the Caffeinated Librarians, MPL's pop culture podcast. So we're continuing with our Biopics series with a discussion of the 2024 American war drama film, which is written and directed by Tyler Perry on the 688 Central Postal Directory Battalion, which was an all-black or multi-ethnic female battalion during the Second World War. So this film amassed 52.4 million views over its first 4 weeks on Netflix, becoming Tyler Perry's most watched film on the streaming service to date. So,
shout out Tyler Perry, my boy TP. Okay.
Yeah. So a little history on the 6888. So, as I said, they were a Central Postal Directory Battalion, and they were the largest group of African-American service women to serve overseas during World War II. And they had to...
I thought they were the only. They were the largest.
The largest, and I think, the only, yes. The largest and the only African-American service woman to serve overseas. So, and they had to overcome, obviously, during this time, a lot of racial barriers. Being African-American women, they had a lot to prove in the eyes of their superiors. They often were overlooked in favor of their white counterparts, so they never really received any overseas orders. However, that changed, and they were given their first overseas mission in February 1945, and they set sail in France, and they eventually arrived in Scotland, and they were charged with organizing a huge backlog of mail that had not been delivered from servicemen, either to their families or mail from their families that had not been sent to the servicemen. And they were initially given 6 months to sort over 17 million backlogged letters. They devised a system, and you do see this in the film, where they were able to identify letters with men, because often enough, even if the letter had a serviceman's number, if they were addressed by a nickname, it became hard to match the letter with the man. Sometimes the service numbers were illegible. They also had to go through care packages that had been sent that had essentially rotted. Over the months being in these huge storage containers.
Yeah, this stuff was just sitting there.
Some of it was bloody.
Yeah. So essentially, the mail became something that the Army was not prioritizing. However, Eleanor Roosevelt, Theodore Roosevelt, and...
Franklin.
Yeah,
yes, FDR, and Mary McLeod, who was the founder of the National Conference of Negro Women. They met up with important members of the Army to basically said this needs to be a priority. Men receiving letters from home, also people at home not knowing what was happening to the men and women who were serving overseas. There was low morale. So while those in authority within the Army thought this is low priority, eventually they were convinced that no, you have to make this a priority. And that's where the 6888 came in. And they were able to accomplish in 3 months what they were given 6 months to accomplish. However, they did not receive recognition for their service until 2022, when they received the highest civilian honor, which is the Congressional Gold Medal. At this point in time, when the film was created, only one woman from that battalion is actually alive, and she's 104 years old.
God bless.
Yeah, so unfortunately it took a long time for them to receive the recognition that they deserved. I was not really aware, this is going to be a shame to say, but I really was not aware that women really had any roles within the Army at this time. I don't really recall ever learning about this, certainly not about the 6888.
Well, I don't think we were taught that in school.
It was not a focus in the curriculum.
Yeah.
So especially with these women, definitely... were not aware at all.
Yeah.
And Kerry Washington, who plays Major Charity Adams, also said that she herself was not aware of these women and that they even served during World War II. So it was an education for her as well, and a source of pride that she got to play an actual historical figure. Major Cherry Adams was the leader of this battalion.
They named something after her too.
Yes.
Fort Greg Adams.
Yes.
Which has been since renamed.
Yeah.
But
yeah. So.
But yeah, amazing story about these women. However, what I'm going to say is how Simona just told it, I think a lot more exciting, a lot more informative than the movie itself.
Yeah. Yeah. Disclaimer, none of the comments that I make are to disparage the actual story, which is wonderful.
This is
inspiring.
This is a really cool piece of American history, and like these women deserve all the honor they can get because, damn, that's insane. I want to know more about their mail system.
Yeah,
because I'm like, oh my god, this seems fascinating.
Yeah, that's my whole thing. Yeah.
And I don't know how far. So essentially, you meet the core cast of characters. And I'm just going to turn. Ebony Obsidian plays Lena Darracott Bell King, who her reasons for enlisting is she has I don't think they were actually engaged yet, but her boyfriend went to serve in the war, and she hadn't heard from him. So she decides that she wants to be of service to her country. And also, her goal is to also try to find out what has happened to her boyfriend. So you see that the core cast of women, they all have different motivations for wanting to serve. Some are for patriotic reasons. One of the characters, Johnny May, which I love.
To meet men.
Yes.
And
also to escape her abusive husband. So she does mention that it's twofold. Yeah. But she is definitely one of the bright spots in a very dreary and depressing situation. So she says, I want to meet men, but also she wants to get away from her abusive husband. And also, even with, granted there was the draft, but even now there are people that join for various reasons, whether it's economic opportunities or, in service to their country. So everyone has different reasons eventually for why they decide to serve. But they do face a lot of obstacles as women, as African American women. I just want to say Dean Norris, who plays General Holt, at one point as I was watching him, I kept on saying, and this will be beeped out, what a...
What voice is Hank pulling out here? Yeah. He is talking like Truman Capote for some reason.
It is the worst accent.
I don't know if these women can do this job. It's so weird.
I don't know where he's supposed to be from for him to speak like that, but he was terrible.
Yeah.
I was saying to Joe earlier, I said, remember the part where they're weighing the women?
Yes.
And the woman's like, oh, you're 1 pound from being disqualified or something like that, or not eligible. I'm like, she's a pound from being disqualified, but you got that as a general? He's not stopping anybody. I'm sorry.
Different state. I had to fit into that uniform.
The scene of him meeting with the Roosevelts and Mary McLeod was making me lose my mind.
Yeah.
Because we got some of the weirdest casting ever. We got him doing his weird voice. We got Susan Sarandon as Eleanor Roosevelt, who I don't know. I love you, Susan. I don't know what you're doing here.
Yeah, it was a tough watch, Susan.
Sam Waterston as Franklin Roosevelt, who is trying a little bit to do the FDR voice, but he can't take it all the way. He still sounds like Jack McCoy from Law and Order.
Yes.
And
I feel like he moved his arms too much too. Like, why is he? I feel like he moved his arms a lot. Was that just me?
Maybe FDR. That's how
Maybe that was how FDR moved.
I admittedly I don't know too much, but I didn't think he was known for gesticulating wildly.
See, if Katie were here, she'd be able to tell us.
Well, actually.
And then Oprah as Mary McLeod Bethune, who I don't think. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I spaced out for a minute. But did the movie really give her a proper introduction?
Other than on the train.
Okay.
There's a moment when the women are getting to know one another and they're introducing where they're from, and one of them excitedly talks about Mary.
Okay.
Sorry. Butane. Sorry, or how do you pronounce it?
I'm not sure.
I'll say Mary McLeod.
I feel very bad.
Because I don't want to be, I'll say Mary McLeod. They're talking about her on the train in passing and who she is, and then you finally see her. What I will say is when I saw Oprah, and I'm aware that Oprah, before becoming a talk show host, like, she was an actress. Like,
you get a car. You get a car.
But it felt like it was so jarring to see her there. It's kind of like when...
It was like, oh, Oprah's
when
here.
Ed Sheeran was in Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
And you knew it was Ed Sheeran in Game of Thrones. Like, I'm so sorry. That's kind of what Oprah... felt like
she just
to me.
shows up to give like an inspirational speech and then she disappears from the movie.
Yeah,
and you're like, oh, I guess they had Oprah for one day.
Yeah.
Also, how many favors do you think Tyler Perry had to pay, like had to call in to get Oprah in his movie?
I don't know. Sure.
I think they're probably friends, right? Like,
yeah, you're right. And this is historical, so she's probably like, all right, this is like a good story to get out there.
Yeah.
So I'll put my name behind this.
But she was like, one day though.
Yeah. She's like, I'll give you a day.
Yeah, so it was a little jarring. But one of the things I loved about this film, because there are just so many great moments, but essentially, like, these women are going against, I feel like a broken record, so many obstacles, because essentially they're given an assignment that no one believes they will ever accomplish. When they arrive in Scotland, they're not really provided with any kind of accommodation, so they have to clean up everything. And this was true. The women faced these real obstacles. They were often so cold that the women, like it's mentioned, Kerry Washington's characters mentioned that they were putting water in their helmets in order to bathe. They also faced a lot of racism from locals. So they were up against, never mind the pressures of war, and the stress of war, the constant uncertain conditions, the bombs that were being dropped. A lot of women within the battalion died. So they're not only facing all of these very real threats of war and the instability being in a war zone, but now they're also combating racism from those in authority, racism from people who are supposed to be their comrades, and they're not afforded that respect whatsoever. But every time they accomplished something, I was like high-fiving. I was like, yes. Like, I was so happy because I think also that's an excellent motivator when people don't expect much of you to say, okay, I am going to prove you wrong. And they did it with such grace, and it's just amazing. I admire these women because they accomplished it in 3 months. And the system that they came up with, like matching fabrics, it also shows how intelligent these women were, where they're like, use your strengths.
I wanted more of that. Because I don't know. I just felt like this is such an amazing story, but it got bogged down in like some like Hallmark movie-isms where it's show me more of the male stuff. Like, show me more of their innovation. And I just felt I wanted to get to know the characters more on like a deeper level as well, because I think like Kerry Washington's doing a very good job here, but I felt like a lot of the other characters were a little more thinly sketched. I just like to get to know these women a little more. But it is very good at depicting at telling this relatively unknown story.
Yeah. Show me the process, like the process of them doing what they're doing. I thought that there were, which again, I mean, obviously there's going to be a lot of stuff that they had to deal with, especially racially and gender-wise. But I feel like they really focused heavily on that and less on the amazing things that they did. Like, I mean, they did the brief things, like you said, the fabric thing and the soldiers drawing the symbols for them to be able to do it. So, like, stuff like that, like, that's the stuff I wanted to know more about.
Yeah, and maybe this would have worked as a mini-series.
Yeah.
Maybe as a miniseries, characters could have been fleshed out more. the actual what they did to sort of accomplish like sorting out like the system that they created, I definitely agree. I would have loved to, because they mentioned matching fabrics at one point. They mentioned perfumes.
Yeah, what was the thing with the perfume? Can you explain
So
how that works?
Yeah, I didn't understand the fabrics either.
So essentially there's a woman who sort of worked, I think, in like the garment industry. So she was able to say, okay, this particular fabric, well, I know that's manufactured in Georgia. So the fact that, because it was basically what was in the care packages. So the way I understood it was, this is made in Georgia. So so that means that this person's family, they're located in. I'm probably saying this all wrong.
It narrows it down from 1,500 Robert Smiths to
exactly.
500 who are from Georgia.
Exactly, because they mentioned the fact that there were a lot of men that shared the same surname. So how do we basically narrow this down? So fabric, depending on where it's manufactured, I could say, okay, the probability is this man is from Georgia, so it's, this package goes to him. The perfumes were the same thing. A lot of the women, they liked these popular perfumes, and one woman, or I guess especially if you're ordering, you'll know, New Hampshire makes this particular scent. So if it was found in this care package, or if the letter from home was sprayed, 'cause I think some women would actually spray perfume on the letters they were sending. So then I can match this care package with this particular gentleman. That's how I understood they were doing it, per se, and that's where the perfumes came in.
Yeah. I think I would have also liked to have seen, the only delivery route that we're shown is the one that ends with the two of them dying.
Yeah.
I did not like how that scene was portrayed.
Yeah.
They are warned, and then they're just like, nah, it's fine. And I was just like, what?
Yeah.
Come on. I don't know if that's a real event. And I don't know, but it felt like how it was portrayed felt very frustrating to watch.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I know upon arrival in Scotland, said that Katidja was greeted with the explosion of a German V1 rocket.
This was like
this was something else.
Yeah.
And a part of me was like, he's warning you and then I kind of expected that there would be, especially because at one point you see that, and I kind of had a hint something was, because they focus on like a undetonated, it's early on, like there's an undetonated bomb, and there's like not really caution tape, but there's some little attempt to sort of prevent people. I kind of would have assumed if something is there too, you'll cord it off in some way. Unless it took them by surprise, which is a possibility.
Yeah.
I don't know necessarily if it was timed, because the two other women in the back managed to scramble out and it doesn't go off.
Well, I think the weight was in the front.
Oh, so maybe the weight of the vehicle.
Looked like the front tires went on, and then when they went to get out, it kind of released a little bit.
Yeah, that was kind of frustrating for me too. I was like, he's telling you for a reason. But then I was kind of hoping there would have been someone wait, for bomb here. I don't know.
That scene is a little frustrating. Also because they're like, we remember our training, we'll do our training, and then all they did was jump out and then it blew up. That couldn't have been the training, was to jump out of the truck. That can't be the training.
Yeah, and I don't know if they would have tried to move toward the back of the truck, if that would have made a difference for them. I don't really know.
Now, I'm sure...
I'm sorry, I'm thinking about a different movie that has a similar scene of, somebody's on a mine. The Five Bloods, the Spike Lee film that was on Netflix. I think it came out 2020, I want to say. Really wild movie, but it's set in modern day Vietnam for the most part, with some flashbacks to the war. And there's a scene where, there's this nonprofit group that is trying to demine Vietnam, because there's a ton of mines left over there, and somebody accidentally steps on one. And it goes through the whole process of all right, what do you do? And it's a fascinating scene, and I want a little bit more of that energy.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, and I'm sure that this happened in real life. I'm sure that convoy ran over a mine. It's just I don't know that when you're driving, I feel like they would have hit a bump and kept going, and then boom, and that's probably how it actually happened in real life. I don't know. I just I don't know. That scene was a little unbelievable.
I hated that chaplain.
Oh,
yeah.
what a...
Yeah.
Every white guy is a dick in this movie, by
Well,
the
except
way.
for the boyfriend.
Except for Abrams.
Yeah.
And there's the one guy when Kerry Washington and her lieutenant, I guess, get to Scotland.
Mm-hmm.
And they're meeting with Hank Schrader. And Hank Schrader's a total to them. And then the one white guy's kind of like he gives them like this like apologetic look, but he doesn't say anything.
Yeah.
So like they were the only two white guys that were like decent in this movie.
Yeah.
Although they do get, it is nice when they get kind of saluted at the end and applauded at the end by the soldiers and stuff like that. Although it's interesting, and I don't know if this is intentional. I would like to hope it was, but did you notice like for the most part, younger white men seem to be more respectful of Kerry Washington's character than the older guys. So I wonder if that's supposed to symbolize like a changing of the times a little bit.
It's possible.
Because like when she gets to the hangar,
and
they immediately salute her. Like after the lieutenant is like, "You salute," they're like, "Oh, sorry."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like those were two very young guys, and then like I don't know if that was intentional, but now I'm thinking about that other captain too. When he talked to her, he was kind of
is the guy in the movies?
Yeah.
One? Yeah. He seemed younger.
Yeah, and he was nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I guess it's just about how your mama raised you and where you were raised.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, there's a bit early on where like they're going south on the train to Georgia and like they cross the Mason-Dixon line. They're all right, time to segregate.
Yeah. I love that song. Was it Gladys Knight?
What, Midnight Train to Georgia?
That one, yeah. I love in 30 Rock when they do it. Do you remember that part?
I don't.
No? Oh, you got to look that up at some
it.
point.
Yeah, we're rewatching it.
Oh, I thought you guys were done.
No.
Then you're going to get to it.
Yeah, we're in like season 2.
Oh.
I think the last thing we saw was Kenneth's party.
Nice.
When Tracy keeps inviting everyone and lying that like, Fallout Boy and I don't know, someone else was going to be there.
Nice.
Anyway.
Yeah, there were just so many like wonderful moments. Like I love when Charity Adams stands up to
when she puts him in his place and then they all applaud her.
But what I love about the way Kerry Washington plays that is that you can see she's on the verge of tears.
Oh yeah.
But she's trying to control it. But I love how she says like, "Oh, sir, over my dead body," and then she goes like she ends it, "Sir," so she's still being respectful. But I love how like they're like this close to like each other, and then like he walks away. It was like every time I was like, "Oh," I said, "What?" Like I was like, "I hate this man." I was like staring at the screen like, "Oh, I hate you." And Sasha was like, "Who are you?" I said, "The guy on the screen. I hate this," which the actor does a fantastic job. The accent, I don't know what he's trying to do.
Yeah. But other than the accent, he really does do a good job of being.
Yeah, and what I also liked is the way the film like portrays basically that, let me see if I can articulate what I'm trying to say. It's like the whole scene with the mail, where it's like, it's taking a lot longer than I would have expected. And like they're talking about, well, we devised this system, and it's almost like basically finding a reason to criticize, to belittle, and demean. Yeah. Oh, perfumes, you have time for perfume, which also, may I say, because he criticizes the fact that they have a beauty salon. It's proven that hygiene is also linked to emotional and mental well-being. So it makes sense that when you're clean, you also have a better state of mind. So the fact that he's nitpicking, oh, you bathe? Oh, you have a salon, like, it's basically, it goes to my point how he's finding reasons to criticize.
Like, even, like, on the front lines, they were still getting shipments of, like, comic books and stuff like that, because the morale is important. Like,
and even, like, basically how no matter what she says, he finds a reason to brush it off, you know,
what
and
do you mean you're reading these letters? These are private.
Yeah.
I did like how he said these are private, Major. And I'm like, huh?
Military.
Yeah, it's like, but it's funny how like you're expecting us to sort this mail, but if we have to open it, you'll find it. So it's basically
whatever he can do to find fault in what they're doing.
Yeah, and also the scene with the so-called preacher. Oh my God, when he opens it up, how about like debauchery and sin. And Carrie Wash's character just looks at him because she knows where this is going, you know, and
what debauchery? What sin? Like, what is
because the fact that they were dancing, like they were dancing with the men and everything, which I love that dance. I think it's called Charleston. No, it has probably another name too, because I know that dance I think started in the African American community. I don't know if it's referred to as the Charleston. But I love that dance. I've seen actual footage. Those dancers did incredible things. Like, oh my God. So I loved that scene with the dancers.
I don't know. Yeah, I thought it was the Lindy Hop. That's that.
It probably is. But anyway, I loved that scene. Love the moment where like even in dark times you find moments of levity and happiness. And also like just as an aside, like thinking also about women in service, it's true. I think a lot of times the sacrifices made by service women, to one extent or another, aren't necessarily always as acknowledged. I think there's this notion sometimes, well, like, because women within service, they did many things, like whether it was switchboard operators, mechanics. So even if they weren't necessarily fighting, because I think women are, like, they were not given combative roles. I think it was on to fairly recently where
nurses. Nurses were in battlefields. But
it's almost as if, you're not doing the fighting, so it's almost diminished. Even talking about women who entertained the troops, the singers. Like there was a documentary where they were even, and this was mostly because Marilyn Monroe would go to entertain the troops. Comedians would go. And it was a documentary about the Vietnam War and the women who performed for the soldiers, almost as if they've not received the recognition they deserved for what they provided for the servicemen at that time, you know, that much needed entertainment. So like the various roles that women have fulfilled throughout war times or whatever. So also acknowledging the service women.
Yeah, I think a lot of that comes down to what war narratives end up getting like enshrined as like, oh, that's like what we want to hear about. And it's usually like, you're the front lines, and it's like, well, no, like the military is like a giant apparatus. There's, you know, like even somebody cooking is like, you know, that can be a big thing.
So just like I want to acknowledge the service women past, those that we've lost and those who are continuing to serve our country. I want to acknowledge you for the work that you do. Thank you for your service. So so this film really, like, it's good that it's shed light on these women. And I think it is a shame, generally speaking, that we don't really learn this in history. These stories are not told. So to one extent, and with some of the problems of the film, I do think this probably could have been better as a miniseries. It still sheds light on these women and what they did for this country. So
yes,
go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think this story is important. I'm glad it's being told, but I think this film suffers from a problem Tyler Perry runs into a lot is that he produces things at an incredibly fast rate, and I think what that can lead to is like, all right, you could have gotten different takes for a lot of these. You could have slowed down and take your time with it and really made this shot, because like it just like I thought like a lot of the dialogue ended up playing a little bit tin-eared. Like there's a bit early on that's like a very like classic, like, oh, we're just setting up like this is 1940s World War II era, because what's her name? Lena says something like, oh, I heard that Edward R. Murrow on the news. He said Hitler was a monster. And I was like, okay, yes. Yeah, we're at war. People know Hitler's not a good guy at this point.
I kind of agree with that too, where the dialogue almost came off as not cartoonish is probably not the right word, but trying too hard, like especially, and I felt it really with Lena, like in the beginning with Lena and Abram, which I loved them so much. And at first I was like, oh my God, like they're together. This is going to be scandalous. Like I was almost expecting like more like some like I was kind of getting nervous, especially when they're driving. Like how is this going to be handled? But thankfully there were people that said like the white chick at the party, I wanted to smack her. But generally speaking, that was not the point of their relationship. But they were adorable.
I gotta tell you, Abram made the biggest mistake in war movies. It's kind of like saying I'll be right back in a horror movie.
Oh.
Like you never say I'll wait till I get home.
Yeah, like,
that's... You knew my boy was dying right then and there.
And I feel bad. I didn't make the connection that he was the pilot that's found dead by, I'm assuming that's the medic? Maybe? No. The one who checks his pulse, or maybe it's just another.
I think it was just another.
I didn't put it that he was the same guy. I felt kind of dumb. I was like, oh, he's the guy that's dead in the beginning. Like, I felt so stupid. I didn't make that connection. He was the same person. But yeah.
Wait, I'm sorry. They were supposed to be in Philadelphia?
Yeah, she was from Philly, yeah.
Don't look like Philly.
No.
Yeah. So I did not make that connection.
I know this was filmed in Georgia, but that looked like Riverdale.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, again, I kind of echo everything you guys are saying. I think I would have liked a kind of a more serious tone. Like, I think if the movie was a little bit, took itself more seriously and maybe took time to hash things out, like you said, maybe it would have been better as a miniseries or something like that. But still an incredible story. And I had never heard of the 688th Battalion, so that's a really cool thing to hear about.
Yeah. Yeah, but going back to the dialogue, that did kind of take me out at one point when they're talking. I was like, oh, that sounds really...
Even when Abram is like, I can't believe she wouldn't just like you because of the color of your skin. Really?
It's like 1940 something. Yeah. Like this, you can't be that shocked.
Sometimes you really It kind of reminds me of films which are trying to bring attention to something, so they make it overly saccharine at points because they want to sort of ease your way into this. They're people too. It's sort of like there are a lot of Korean dramas that want to they bring attention to mental health issues. So it's almost like they're like you get to be like, they're people too. They may see other people, but treat them with kindness, all right? And it's like, okay, I understand what you're trying to do here, but at the same time,
we've got a long history of movies that try to be Oscar contenders in this country that do that kind of thing. Where it's just like, oh boy, okay, I don't think anybody will get too mad if I slag off Driving Miss Daisy a little bit.
Oh. And I think it's unfortunate because even at this time, I saw this clip with I can't remember names. Oh my God.
What do they do?
He was Frank Sinatra. Thank you. My God, I was gonna die if I couldn't remember Frank Sinatra's name. So he's in this film. He's very young, and it's just a clip of him talking to these young boys who are going after another young boy. He goes "What happened? Does he have I think it says chicken pox or something?" And I think they talk about how he's
pretty good Sinatra.
Something like that. And then they was like, oh, he's Catholic or something like that. And he goes, so? And I feel dumb because even during times, yes, the 40s were not the greatest time in terms of how we felt about people that were different. There's no doubt about that. However, there were people, because in this scene with Frank Sinatra, he's basically saying how he's a human being too. He bleeds like you bleed. He goes, you remind me of a bunch of Nazis. And one goes, hey, mister, my father's fighting in the war. You calling us Nazis? I love the 1950s accent that a lot of these kids had.
I gotta find this movie.
It's a clip, but he's basically, people I think would call it woke. But he's basically teaching the kids a lesson. So even at that time, there were people that would have seen... I just think it could have been done differently because Abrams comes across as he's living in a bubble world. Yeah.
He comes off like, wow, I can't believe we know one person who is racist. Yeah. And it's buddy.
So I think the same kind of but honestly, like, he wouldn't have had to say, because I think maybe the sentiment could have been expressed in a more realistic kind of way, or not one that's coming up. Yeah. But anyway, yeah, if I ever find that, it was like on TikTok, and I just loved that scene. So, I mean, there have always been people that recognized injustice and tried to do something about it. That's not what we're saying, but still, the observation that he makes is like, I was like, really? You're just seeing this now? You know, and I thought the same thing, you know. And the fact that she's serving at his family's function. And there's also the throwaway line, because I'm sure they're talking about what is happening with the Jews. And around this time also is when there was talks of a Jewish state. So a lot of Jewish people within this country were trying to get leadership to also recognize the importance of a Jewish state. So I think that dialogue is also supposed to be a reference to that movement within this country, to get a Jewish state because of what was happening with Hitler, and but yeah, like a lot of kind of heavy-handedness with the way some of this was addressed.
Agreed. Well said.
But they were adorable, though. I did love them. And I love how, even though it is corny, how he's the motivation for her to get back up after she's wearing the gas mask. She's not doing too well. She hallucinating
a couple times. And, which is a little odd, but, you know.
Well, she's not hallucinating. She's
being visited by a ghost.
Is this a horror movie or a historical movie? What's happening?
It's a little bit of both. But that was so cute, though.
Yeah, at first I thought, it's the gas, like, hallucinating her, but then it happens again later on. Like, he, like, comes to talk to her again.
Oh, really?
And I'm like,
he shows up, like, 3 times, I think.
Oh,
he's just haunting.
Oh, yes, in the bathroom, too.
Yeah, he needs to give her privacy in the bathroom. My goodness.
Back off, Abram.
Yeah, she's got Hugh now. All right.
I did think it was crazy when he was like, I'm canceling my wedding because I saw you and we spoke 2 sentences to each other.
Yeah, love at second sentence.
It's happened.
Yeah. And I guess she ends up marrying Hugh.
Yeah.
So, I do wish there was a little bit more, like, of her and Hugh. I think that would have helped character development a little bit. Yeah. But, I mean, that's not really the most important thing of the movie, but...
Yeah, wow, she lived until she was 100.
Wow, Lena. God bless.
Can't even imagine living until I'm 100.
No, me neither.
It'll be 2098.
Oh my God. You gotta... Oh wait, I was about to say something very stupid.
You gotta live until 3000.
Yeah.
I kind of thought the same thing when I was doing the math in my head. I was like, damn, that would be...
Yeah, I was like, just go 2 more years, Joe.
Like, it's possible. And if we're still doing this, you can look back on the recording.
If I live to 2100, I don't know what I'm doing. I think I'm getting so scared.
Oh man. Oh.
I can't imagine being conscious at the time when you had to stop writing 9-8 and had to start writing 00, 9-9 and had to start writing 00. Like,
yeah, it was.
I have enough trouble going from like 24 to 25. Like, it's 26 now. Jesus.
It is. Yeah.
Oh my God. Do you think the future will eventually ever look like the Jeffersons?
No.
Well, it did. The 1970s looked like the Jeffersons. You're thinking of the Jetsons.
The Jetsons,
yes.
Thank you.
The Actually, I was thinking what you were thinking too.
Thank you, Jetsons. Yeah, yes. Because every time I watch movies of the future, I'm like, I wish. I was like, this is boring right now. So I kind of wonder, like, will we ever get to that point?
No, I don't think we'll ever have flying cars because imagine an accident. Oh my gosh, it'd be just chaos. The cars would come crumbling down. They would fall into
that would
buildings.
Be so scary, actually.
Yeah.
There's one time, like, probably like 5 or so years ago, when Kanye was going on another tear, where he was like, I'm going to open a flying car factory in Chicago. You know what? I'm still waiting.
Now, I would have asked him, is the factory going to be flying? Or are you making flying cars? Because either way,
I don't think anyone asked him
sign
any
me up.
follow-ups, honestly. So, but yeah, I don't. What do we think is the most realistic future? Because I don't think it's Jetsons.
If you ask Gunther, it's like...
Gunther's predicting Fallout.
We're gonna be like when the dinosaurs for like first extinction. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, at the rate we're going, I think Fallout is the most realistic. Unfortunately,
It could be in bunkers, underground bunkers.
Yeah.
You know what? Maybe we wrap back around and we just end up in the Flintstones.
I like it.
That'd be funny.
Yeah.
You turn on your TV and it's like a weird little bird thing. And you're like, it's a living. What a deeply lazy show the Flintstones was. Because they were just like, what if it was a rock? That's it. It's what if the honeymooners had rocks instead of devices? And then the Jetsons was just like, well, what if we made it the future instead? Hanna-Barbera. They paid for like one background that they just loop and loop and loop.
Yeah. Oh, man. That's funny. So what are we rating this out of? Out of
letters?
wax? Out of what?
Letters?
Letters?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
What did you suggest?
Wax?
Wax. Okay, I see.
The seal, wax seal.
No, Women Army Corps?
Oh, yeah, I forgot. We forgot to mention the Women Army Corps is abbreviated WAC. So sometimes people refer to it as the WAC unit in this movie, which when Oprah said that, I laughed really hard.
I thought you said wax.
Oh no, WAC. Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, because she was just like, the women in the WAC unit are very competent, and I was just like, well, it sounds kind of whack.
I was, yeah, right. Like, that's whack. There they are. Letters. So I'll bet lead off. I'm gonna give this, because the story is so great and the history of it's so great. I'm gonna give it a 3 out of 5. 3 out of 5 letters.
Yeah. I really thinking about it, I think this would have benefited as a mini-series. Still, considering the story, who these women were, what they can like, I'm going to give it 4 out of 5 letters.
I guess I'm being the mean one here. This is a wonderful story. I would love to see like a very in-depth documentary about these people, because like, yeah, I want to know more. But for the movie itself, I'm hitting it with like 2.5 letters.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for joining us. Next time you see us, we'll be discussing what?
In the Name of the Father, I think.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
So we'll be discussing hopefully In the Name of the Father. So as always, like, subscribe, and we will see you next time. Bye, everyone.